Warhammer 40k Darktide released in 2022, and in 2026, the game is still being updated with new classes, new maps, new game modes, and new enemies. At the beginning of the year, the developers put out a blog that outlined everything that was added in 2025, and then teased that the next class has already been in the works for a while. But more importantly, they also teased that Darktide is certainly going places in 2026. With the release of the Ogryn Packmaster trailer, it now seems pretty obvious that we're going to be getting new locations in the form of new maps or potentially even a new game mode. Now, before we review all of our evidence that indicates where the game is going to be going in 2026, keep in mind that Darktide has always done a great job of telling the audience exactly what's going to happen, specifically through environmental storytelling and through Easter eggs in a lot of the various texts available to us in the game. This video is going to dive into some data mining, so if you're the kind of person who wants to go into future updates completely spoiler-free, then this is a good point to tune out of the video. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like, hype, and subscribe on the way out. For the rest of you, let's hop right into the cutscene that plays at the very end of the mission that was added at the end of 2025, or the end of last year, No Man's Land. In very broad terms, this cutscene tells you exactly where the story is going.
The Battle of Consora's Folly has concluded in our favor, if not to the Knight Commander's complete satisfaction. As a true servant of the throne, he hungers even now for fresh battles. With the heretic stronghold in our hands, the task now is to decrypt the intel gathered from within its walls. This will take some time, but already it is clear that admonition has a presence in Tersham's fringes, and perhaps even in the desolation beyond. Be assured that the 53rd will batter this cult to ruin wherever it hides. As for your role in this, I am not displeased. Rest lightly. I shall call on you again. The Emperor protects, the Guard prevails.
This cutscene makes it pretty clear that Commissar Duquesne wants to track down the Cult of Admonition and the Mobian traders as well. But honestly, the main driver for all of this speculation is a data mined portrait frame that seems to be a reward for playing expeditions. Considering where the story is going, this data mine lines up with the cutscene that we saw at the end of No Man's Land. But this isn't the only piece of evidence that we have. A while ago, the developers actually changed the Morning Star. If you didn't notice, over on the left side of the mission selection screen, you're actually able to see that the area is under construction. It's important to note that this is the game mode area. It's where you go to queue up for all sorts of Darktide's various game modes, such as Havoc, or Mortis Trials, or just the base game. So if they added an NPC in this area that's under construction, then it would make sense that it's for a new game mode. But that's not all. There's also more in-game precedence for an expedition type game mode. Our characters are starting to talk about the things outside of Tertium more and more in-game. There are more voice lines that have been added that reference things such as the wastes or the things beyond the fringes of Tertium. In fact, when you are creating the backstory for your Hive Scum, the newest class added to Darktide at the very end of 2025, you're actually able to choose Out in the Wastes as an option. And this reads, many in Tertium talk in hushed tones about the savages that live outside the city walls, beyond the Forbidden Zone. Some say whole tribes live out there. Others know that can't possibly be true. The whole area is irradiated, right? So to recap everything that we have so far, not only do we have data mined information telling us that expeditions are coming, but we also have an entire area in the Morningstar under construction in the area where you queue up for the various game modes available in the game. And lastly, everything that the story or narrative is indicating is saying that we're going to be going beyond the Forbidden Zone, into the fringes around Tertium. And then we get a trailer where new enemies are revealed, and they just so happen to be in a new looking area out in the desert wastes. Remember, this is Darktide. Everything that the developers release for the game, whether it be in-game, on social media, or through any other platform, is intentional. Now, what exactly could expeditions be? Are they simply just going to be new maps, maybe just a different variant of Havoc or Endgame? I think that we're probably going to be getting something more akin to Chaos Wastes from Vermintide 2. Thematically, not only are these two things very similar, but Chaos Wastes is also one of the best game modes, if not the best game mode that Fat Shark has ever made. And what made Chaos Wastes so good in Vermintide 2 was the replayability of them, because Chaos Wastes is a roguelike mode where your character gets more powerful the longer that you progress in an expedition. There's no telling how closely Fat Shark is going to implement the exact formula that is the Chaos Wastes into Darktide's expeditions. Darktide has been experimenting with modifiers that improve the way that your character plays for a while now, basically ever since Mortis Trials released at the beginning of last year. It would make sense that the Expeditions game mode would be the end game variant of Mortis Trials. And to top it all off, one of the main criticisms of 2025 was that we didn't get too many maps, and a lot of people in the community are desperately seeking new maps in the game. When Chaos Wastes launched in Vermintide 2, it launched with 15 new locations. Perhaps, and this is absolute hopium or copium, whatever you want to call it, a lot of the map building assets have been working on new maps for this new game mode set to release this year, and they had to sacrifice a little bit of content for us last year. Lastly, I'm not gonna say I know what the next class is, but we're not gonna talk about the data mine that happened where the class's internal name, the Cryptic, was revealed. What could it be? What could it be? Anyways, that covers everything that I believe is going to be releasing in Darktide in 2026. On your way out, don't forget to like, hype, and subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know what you think is going to be releasing in Darktide this year. Yep, we totally talked about everything. I didn't leave a single stone unturned.